So at Gamescom this year, Square Enix were kind enough to get me hands-on with a trilogy of games. Final Fantasy VII, Octopath Traveler 0, videos on both of those down below. But the final game I played was Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD-2D Remake. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And not only did I get proper hands-on time with the game, but I also had the honor of sitting down with producer Masaaki Hayasaka, who was there for the entire session. We talked about the game itself, of course, but I also got the chance to ask about something I know a lot of you are going to be passionate about right now. And that is those Switch 2 game key cards. Now, if that sounds interesting, do me a favor, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, all that jazz. On a smaller channel, it helps a huge amount. And now, let's dive in. So what exactly are these games? Well, Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD-2D Remake, they bring together the first two adventures in what's known as the Erdrick trilogy. Now, these are the stories that really kicked off the entire Dragon Quest franchise. Now, however, they've been rebuilt in that gorgeous Octopath-style HD-2D engine that I personally cannot get enough of. And narratively, they're both classic setups. In the first, you're playing as a descendant of the legend Erdrick. You're basically rising up to challenge the Dragon Lord, basically peace in the land. It's been destroyed. Then in the sequel, generations later, Erdrick's bloodline, it's once again here to answer a call, basically, this time with young princes and princesses from three kingdoms uniting to stop this new wave of evil. I won't go into spoilers or anything like that. They're simple, iconic tales. And if you're wondering why Square Enix is releasing these after DQ3, well, that's kind of the logic. 3 is not only the most celebrated entry, so it made sense, but it actually acts as a prequel to 1 and 2. So playing them in this order, it makes sense. And if you're asking why bundle them together, I think the answer is really length. These are considerably shorter than 3, or at least in their original form. You know, even with new content, playing through both will likely total about the same time commitment as Dragon Quest 3, maybe even, if I had to guess, a little shorter. But like anyways, on to the actual hands-on. I played this in handheld on a Switch 2. The footage you are seeing here, however, Square Enix provided, and they confirmed it was captured on a PS5. But honestly, they look just as good on Switch 2. Sharp, colourful, and that beautiful HD-2D aesthetic, it just pops on the screen. Now, for anyone that played DQ3 HD-2D or grabbed that free Switch 2 upgrade recently, video on that down below, you'll know the first thing I did was actually jump into the options. The reason being, in 3, we got a quality mode, so sharper visuals but capped at 30 FPS, and a performance mode. That lowered resolution but hit 60. Now, I went with performance back then, and I was happy to see the same options here. I tried both, and yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect. Performance feels fluid, the visual downgrade is minor, definitely extra blur, but for me, it is worth it. And from a visual and performance perspective, honestly, this release feels right in line with Dragon Quest 3. And that's not a bad thing. I adored that remake on Switch 1, and the Switch 2 upgrade just absolutely sealed it. So what did I actually get to play then? Well, there was 2 save files. The first one started in a small town. It was DQ1. It's a moment of calm. Basically, I ran into a swindler trying to flog a thief's key. It was a magical trinket that opens any door as long as it's painted red. Bit weird, I know, but I love these little kind of quirky details that just make Dragon Quest Dragon Quest. He told me, though, he'd be waiting at an inn to the south if I wanted to buy it, so yeah, naturally, off we went. Now a quick trip across the world map later, and this is where I'll say the orchestral soundtrack, the pixel art scenery, it was really carrying me. But when we arrived, yeah, he'd been robbed. The key was gone, and the thief had made off with it. So what followed was a solo quest, no party of any form, and it was a mix of world map battles and an eventual dungeon crawl. And then came the second game, the second part of the demo. This was a boat ride to a tower. Now inside was a maze-like structure, more battles, and yes, some enemies that just absolutely destroyed me. But honestly, loved it. The combat is classic turn-based Dragon Quest. The pacing feels just right, and even though this was, potentially an event build, dropped partway into the story, being the big point of me saying that, it still pulled me straight in. The enemy designs are just so good. The menus work beautifully, and the visual layering of HD-2D just once again made these dungeons feel incredible. If you loved the remake of 3, you're gonna love this too. It's more of the same here, but that is a compliment. It's exactly what I wanted to see round out this Erdrick trilogy. Now, after my session, as I said, I got a brief chat with producer Masaaki Hayasaka. Now, most of our time was about the game itself and really his passion for how well HD-2D suits these stories. That was my first question, why HD-2D? But you could just tell he loves this trilogy. The way he spoke about the balance of nostalgia and modernization, it stood out. But I also had to ask him about game keycards. I wanted to know if he was aware of the discourse and why, unlike Dragon Quest III, there's no upgrade path between Switch 1 and Switch 2. I also explained why collectors care. You know, Switch 1 is complete on cartridge, while Switch 2, obviously, it's not. His answer? Well, first, he said he has seen the community reaction for Dragon Quest III. They felt a free Switch 2 upgrade was really the fairest option because it only recently released. They wanted to respect those players, basically, and it was all about goodwill, so kudos. For this release, though, his explanation was simple. The Switch 2 is here now, so people can pick the version they want from the start. Now, I did try and push back a little bit here on the collector angle, and he acknowledged again the discourse, but didn't go further. Basically, they did right by fans with free, and here they don't see the need for upgrades because the choice is there from the beginning. Now, from my perspective, the real issue is Nintendo's cartridge sizes. Larger carts push up costs, and while some of us would happily pay extra, publishers fear it will hurt sales. They really need to look at Cyberpunk 2077 to see this isn't the case. But yeah, basically cue the comments below. I know many of you will say what's actually hurting sales is the reliance on game keycards, and I agree. I hear you. Right now, though, I think not just for Square Enix, for all studios, this is actually Square Enix only doing a good thing, honestly, in regards to DQ3. But yeah, I think it's just a bit of a mess for studios, and I don't think many of them really know what to do or where to go. So look, anyways, to wrap up, I was passionate about Dragon Quest III. I thought it was incredible, and this felt like more of the same in the best possible way. The combat is sharp, the music's gorgeous, and the HD-2D presentation it suits these adventures perfectly. Fans should be extremely excited for the treatment of these classics. Yeah, look, if you've got questions, drop them down below. I'll do my best to answer them. And if you enjoyed this preview, do me a favor, again, subscribe, turn on notifications. It helps out a smaller channel like mine a huge amount. All right, I'll see you on the next video. Cheers all.